Does your prayer seem to be hitting a brick ceiling? Science now reveals that the problem isn't your faith, but the tuning of your biological radio. Today, we'll understand how to unlock this communication. Close your eyes for a brief moment and allow the weight of your shoulders to find the rest it has sought throughout the entire day. Imagine, in the silence of your chest, that there is a deep ocean where the waters, though they may seem agitated on the surface, keep an unshakable calm in their most intimate depths. Perhaps you have spent a long time sending pleas to a sky that feels as if it were made of brass, feeling that persistent tightness in the chest that arises when we believe our words are being lost in the void. I want you to know, with all the tenderness that truth carries, that I see your exhaustion and I understand your silence. The pain of not feeling heard by the universe is not a failure in your faith, but merely a mismatch in the direction of the signal you are emitting. The truth that science and the soul now whisper in unison is that prayer was never a petition sent to a distant judge, sitting on a throne of judgment to decide your worthiness. This idea of an external God, who grants or denies according to our persistence, is a myth that only increases the distance between you and the healing you seek. Prayer is, in reality, a sacred resonance established within your own cellular membrane, a chemical dialogue that happens in every tiny part of your being. The universe is not outside of you deciding your destiny. It is the energy field where you breathe, and it responds not to what you ask with fear, but to what you vibrate with truth. The biology of the receptor, the teaching of Dr. Bruce Lipton. Dr. Bruce Lipton teaches us that each of your cells possesses receptors that function like small antennas, invisible tuning forks that catch the melody of the environment around them. When your internal world is intoxicated by stress, resentment, or the constant feeling that something is missing, these antennas become congested, like a radio that can only catch noise and static. If the chemical environment in which your cells float is made of anxiety, the signal of peace and the divine answer simply finds no room to be translated into life. For the universe to respond to your prayer, your biological soil must first be prepared to receive this light, transforming your body into a sanctuary of clear and loving reception. As Gregg Braden so well describes, there is a divine matrix, a field of infinite possibilities that connects every star in the sky to every atom in your heart. This quantum field is immense, but it does not understand empty words or isolated thoughts that do not carry the weight of real feeling. It responds to a very specific language, the electrical impulse of your thought united with the magnetic pull of your heart. When what you think and what you feel become a single note, you create a vibrational signature that the field cannot ignore. It is this union, this coherence between the mind and the chest, that forms the true language that the universe recognizes and reflects back to your reality. The frequency of 0-point stillness, beyond the ego's noise. There is a silent exhaustion that is born from the constant attempt to control every little detail of our existence, as if life were a burden we must carry only with the strength of our own arms. This hunger for control, which we often disguise as dedication or willpower, is actually a cry of weariness from the soul that believes it is separate from the creative source. When you try to manifest change through pressure and excessive mental effort, you end up transmitting a frequency of desperation and urgency to the quantum field. In the realm of infinite possibilities, urgency is the vibrational affirmation of lack. The more you push with the logical mind, the more you confirm to your biology that what you desire is not yet here, keeping the answer always beyond your reach. For the true voice of your soul to be transmitted without noise, it is necessary to cross the bridge that leads us beyond the ego's noise, entering a state of profound neural stillness. This is the meeting point between alpha and theta brainwaves, a sacred space where the analytical mind finally rests and allows the subconscious to become permeable to new instructions. It is in this state of suspension, where time seems not to exist, that you stop being the character burdened with problems and become pure consciousness, open and receptive. By disarming the defenses of the intellect, you create a fertile vacuum where the seed of your intention can finally touch the deep soil of your being, without being interrupted by the judgment or doubt that usually inhabit the surface of your daily thought. Often, our way of seeking help from the sacred ends up reinforcing the very distance that pains us so much, creating a cycle where the act of asking becomes a trap. When you place yourself in a position of desperate plea, your body interprets this feeling as a biological confirmation that you are a helpless and needy being. This movement of begging creates an invisible barrier, for you are vibrating at the frequency of absence, and the universe, like a perfect mirror, only reflects back to you more situations that confirm that same lack. True prayer is not born from the desire to convince the universe to give you something, but rather from the recognition that the peace you seek already inhabits the center of your silence, waiting only for you to stop shouting so you can feel it. Heart coherence, the great transmitter. Often, we live in a state of invisible mismatch, an internal friction that consumes our vital energy without us realizing the origin of this wear and tear. You can spend hours visualizing a life of abundance, health, or harmony. But if upon closing your eyes your chest still holds that familiar tightness of scarcity or fear, you are living a dissonance. Your brain is trying to project an image of light, while your body, submerged in chemical memories of pain, continues to send a distress signal to the quantum field. This internal division acts like a biological short circuit. The mind wishes to fly, but the heart is still anchored in a feeling of unworthiness that cancels out any intention you try to manifest. Modern science reveals a fascinating fact that ancient sages already felt in their deepest meditations. Your heart is the largest transmitter of energy in your body. The electromagnetic field generated by the heart is thousands of times stronger and more far-reaching than the field produced by the brain, functioning as the main antenna for your personal prayer. It is not just your thoughts that the universe hears, but rather the emotional beat that emanates from your chest every second. When you understand that the heart is the master and the brain is the servant, you stop trying to convince life through logic and begin to allow your biology to feel the answer even before it materializes in the physical world. A house divided against itself cannot stand, and the same principle applies to the sanctuary of your being. It is of no use to build mental castles of hope if, in the depths of your gut, you still feel small and helpless before circumstances. This lack of coherence is what prevents your prayer from becoming matter, for the universe does not respond to what you want, but rather to what you are in your totality. When the visceral feeling of being loved and protected meets the clear vision of your desire, a phenomenon of unification occurs. In that moment, the mind and the heart speak the same language, and the signal you emit becomes a coherent command that reality has no other choice but to obey. The art of non-resistance, the secret of Neville Goddard. There is an ancestral fear that assaults us the moment we decide to stop fighting, a deep anxiety that the ego interprets as a sign of defeat or imminent death. We were taught that to obtain something we need to pursue, grab, and hold on tight. But in the realm of the spirit, This tension is precisely what keeps the door closed. When you let go of the reins and stop trying to force events, you are not giving up. You are allowing the infinite intelligence of the universe to find the shortest path to you. It is in the sacred space of detachment that quantum magic finds the necessary ground to operate. For only when your hands are open and relaxed do they become capable of receiving what the field has already prepared for your journey. The quantum law of non-local influence assures us that, at the exact moment a prayer is felt as a living reality in your heart, it already exists as a concrete possibility in the field of all things. The habit of continuing to push, demand, or worry about the result only creates unnecessary resistance that acts as a brake on the manifestation of your healing. Imagine you have sent an important message. Screaming at the messenger will not make it arrive any faster. It will only tire your own voice. Radical trust is the understanding that your part was done at the moment of union between thought and feeling, and that any additional effort based on anxiety is just noise that drives away the harmony you wish to attract. Often, our logical mind creates a neurological bottleneck by trying to obsessively decipher the how and when things will change. The prefrontal cortex tries to limit the universe's solutions only to those it can imagine or control. However, the deepest and most transformative solutions usually come through paths that our reason would never be able to architect. By letting go of understanding the mechanism of the miracle, you transmute your anxiety into a space of pure intention, ceasing to be the one who strives desperately to become the silent observer. It is in this role of conscious observer that you allow the wave function to collapse into matter, transforming the invisible into something you can finally touch and live. Somatic certainty, the body as living prayer. Often, we carry the weariness of a spirituality that seems to demand constant performance, an exhausting effort to appear at peace, while our nervous system continues to scream in survival mode. You can perform all the rituals, recite all the affirmations, and light all the candles, but if your physical body is still submerged in the chemistry of fight or flight, your prayer will be but an empty echo. True spirituality is not a performance for the external world. It is a deep regulation of your own biology, where you teach your gut to relax even when the storm still blows outside. Your body is the altar where consciousness manifests, and it needs to feel the safety of the answer even before your eyes can see any sign of change on the horizon. The science of belief shows us that a prayer only reaches its maximum potency when it stops being an intellectual concept stored in the neocortex and descends to become a visceral knowing, impregnated in your stomach and in your bones. There is an abysmal difference between thinking that everything will be fine and knowing with every fiber of your being that you are already supported. This knowing does not depend on external evidence, for it is born from an internal authority that needs no validation. When you move your intention from the logical mind to the intelligence of your cells, you create a somatic certainty that the universe recognizes as a final order. It is in this state of absolute conviction that matter begins to bend before the spirit, reflecting the integrity of the one who no longer doubts their own connection with the source. We live under the fallacy that we need to wait for physical evidence to only then feel gratitude, but in the quantum realm this logic is a scientific impossibility. If you wait to see the healing to feel healthy, or to see the provision to feel secure, you are still operating in the old model of cause and effect that keeps you hostage to circumstances. To speak the language of the universe, you must reverse this order and learn to feel gratitude now, as if the miracle were already a cherished memory of your past. Gratitude is the state of being that informs the quantum field that the event has already occurred. It is the chemical signature of fulfillment. By cultivating this anticipated gratitude, you stop being a beggar to become a master of manifestation, attracting to yourself the reality you have already decided to inhabit internally. Final practice and integration. At the end of this journey, we understand that prayer is, in its purest form, the ultimate technology of self-regulation and sovereignty for the human being. It represents the sacred meeting point where your most intimate biology merges with the infinite intelligence that governs the galaxies, allowing you to stop being a passive passenger to become the captain of your own destiny. Your body is not a burden to be carried, but a laboratory of light where science meets spirit to achieve the impossible. When you align what you think, what you feel, and what you vibrate, you discover that the key to all the doors that seemed locked has always been kept in the silence of your own chest, waiting only for your courage to turn it. A practice for your alignment. I invite you, tonight, when the light goes out and the world outside falls silent, to perform the following gesture of love for yourself. Place your right hand over the center of your chest and your left hand over your abdomen. Feel the warmth of your touch crossing the layers of your skin and reaching your organs. Ask for nothing. Just breathe into the feeling that you are already enough. Say to yourselves, "We are safe. The signal is clear. I accept the peace that already belongs to me." Transform your biology into living proof of your faith. Do not wait for the perfect moment to be happy. Use your body now to anchor the peace you desire. Final reflection. What if the peace you sought so much in external paths, and what if the healing you asked for in sleepless nights, were all along just one frequency away from your heart? What if the pain you feel today is, in fact, the final portal to the life you have always sought? The universe already said yes to you the moment you were born. Now, it is up to you to sustain the frequency that allows that yes to become your visible reality. Gratitude for allowing these words to find a home in your being. Danke.